Good morning, gang. Hi, team. Give me a wave if you can see me and hear me. Okay, great. Let me put myself on spotlight video. Hey, team. I love and acknowledge people for getting on early. Jason, I think you were the earliest one. I think I saw you here first. Appreciate that. We're almost at time, and I'll begin in a moment. Why don't you share in the chat? Tell me, each of you, what's something that is fun for you right now? It's so easy to focus on either work or the challenges we're facing. What's something fun that you're up to right now? Tell me something fun. For me, it's been bouncing on the trampoline with the boys until I double bounced Ellington. We landed at the same time and he twisted his ankle and had to go to hospital, wear a splint for a week. And then I discovered, apparently, you're not supposed to double bounce with kids. It's really bad for them. Can you guys all hit mute for me, please? Some of you are unmuted. Okay, great, thank you. So you're up to, Stephanie, yeah, swimming, I love it. We don't have a pool, it's one thing we're missing. Gardening is not my thing, Darlene. It's one of those list of things that I think I should be doing. Lots of you are saying outside time. It's nice. Yeah, John, I want to get out in nature with the boys. All right, gang, we're at time. I know a few people will join in a moment, but I wanted to begin. I like to honor time with my community. Let's begin this way. Thanks for everyone who's answering that question. Let me start with a couple of questions for you to have us begin. Those of us who are coaches, who are leaders, we're very future focused. We're thinking about what's coming next. What am I creating next? What am I up to? What are my clients up to? What would be bigger, more exciting, more impressive? So our attention is always out there in the future, down the road, which means we too often forget to turn around and see where we've been. I had to do the math the other day to work out how long has it been since we've been in lockdown. It's almost 120 days, which blows my mind. I'm going to ask you to cast your mind back over those last 20 days. What are you proud of? What are you proud of? I don't mind whether it's personal, professional, anything in between. What are you proud of? Will you post it in the chat? At least one thing, maybe three. What are you proud of? What have you been up to in the last 4 months, 120 days of lockdown for most of us? What are you proud of? I'm glad you got out in the basement, Danielle. Hi, Cordelia. I got your message this morning. Yeah, what are you proud of? Yeah, every once in a while, someone sends me a private message and I see those. Thanks, Andres. And keep going. If you've written one thing, don't pause there. What else? What else are you proud of? It's so easy to go, oh, well, I did this, and then go back to here. Okay, what am I creating next? What should be bigger, better, different? What are you proud of? Misty says, keeping up with her hard workouts. Yeah, I love that. I worked out with a personal trainer on Zoom calls, and I have friends who've always done that. I'd always kind of dismissed that. How can you work out with a trainer online? Why wouldn't you want to be in person? And I've really loved those sessions. Wow, Flo did a 21K run this morning. Yeah, I love that you guys keep going. It's really easy to say one thing and then stop, or to dismiss something because it's so small. In fact, let's do that right now. What's one tiny thing that would be easy to miss? Yeah, you signed a new client, you did a 21K run, you're proud of something that was really impressive. What's one tiny thing that you're proud of that would be really easy to miss? What's one tiny thing that you did, that you accomplished, that would be easy to miss? Taking a day off when I need it, listening to my intuition, spending time with my parents, Drinking a lot of water. That's great. These are the tiny things that's easy to miss. Hey, Sean, playing with my 3-year-old, taking the walk I never took, taking care of my mum, taking a 15-minute nap. That's one of the hardest things for me to do. Okay, so let's pause. We took a moment to look back into the past. Let's look at the present moment this time. What are you confident about? What do you feel good about right now? What are you confident? And this is not a future-based confidence. I'm confident I'll sign some clients in the next month. This is, you know what? I'm confident about my body right now because I've been eating healthily. I'm confident that I've got 3 clients who feel really great right now. I'm confident when I write something and share it on Facebook, I'm proud of what I write. A present-based confidence. What are you confident about in this moment? Denise says, I'm confident in my body. John, I'm confident in my coaching. Danielle, I'm confident about my power and my ability to serve. Magda, I'm confident I'm a good mum. Hey, John Sebastian, I'm confident I made all the right choices so far. Enrique, I'm confident about my intention to learn. Natasha, hi Natasha, I'm confident I'm serving people powerfully as a coach. So Gabby, I'll play with you for a second. Hi Gabby, I'm confident that 10 powerful women are on my way. I don't know whether that's a future-based confidence. I'm confident they're coming. I know it's going to happen. Or I'm confident they're on my way right now. I'm serving them because they're current clients. I differentiate between those two for this exercise. There's nothing wrong with that confidence. I know it's coming. And come back to this present moment confidence. What are you confident in this moment without, I know, fingers crossed, if I keep doing this, that's a future-based confidence. All right. Now let's look into the future. What are you excited about or scared about, or the two together, that little fine line down the center where you're a little bit excited and a little bit scared all at the same time? What's something that excites you and scares you? So either exciting or exciting and scary all at the same time. I saw that expression, Paige. I don't know what that was, came up for you, but I saw that expression. Yeah, Puneet, excited and nervous about going to Australia to be with my daughter. I'm pleased for you, Puneet. Stephanie's about to release a book. That's fantastic. Congratulations, Stephanie. John, I'm excited and scared about a call I have in just under 90 minutes. Nice. Hi, Sarah. You have a new intuitive mentoring client. I bet you're excited and a little scared. I'm glad to see you here, Sarah. Reno says, I'm scared. I actually have no effing clue what I'm up to. I love that, man. Anyone relates? Anyone know? Yep, me too. Yeah, that's great. Okay. It's a really simple exercise. I learned that from one of my mentors and teachers, Dan Sullivan, who uses the metaphor of being in a car. If you have kids and you're driving somewhere and the kids are in the back saying, am I there yet? Am I there yet? Am I there yet? The thing about the horizon is that you never get there. When you're a high performer, you set the bar here, and either you don't hit it and you judge yourself for not hitting it, or you hit it and then raise it higher again because you think it should have been higher, and you keep heading off there, judging yourself for being less than, missing something. Just taking a moment to turn around and look at the past and pausing in this moment to look at the present. All right, let's do this. I want to take you through an exercise, and then I want to have you ask me some questions and see how much of a Q&A I can do. You all somehow, some of you get around that one and unmute yourselves. So if you have a question for me, write the word question in caps at the front, and then write whatever the question is. Be concise, because on a thread here, I can't read lots of detail. You have a question for me, put it in there with the word question, and I'll come to that in a moment. So let me take you through something right now. I've been fascinated by high performance and success for a long time. And truthfully, it came from a lot of doubt and insecurity. If only I could be successful, then I'd feel good about myself. then I'd mean something in the world. Then my father would be proud of me. You'd be proud of me. You'd be impressed by me. So my focus on high performance and success didn't come from a healthy place to call myself out. However, I've immersed myself in the study of success and high performance for years. So sometimes where we've got to doesn't have to have come from a healthy place. In fact, the moment you see where it came from, there's a freedom in going even deeper in what you teach. So I want to take you through an exercise where we look at what have been the challenges to your success, and then what have been the secrets to your success. There are so many books that get published which have the subtitle Secrets to Success, and you can read Richard Branson's book, and you can read whatever famous person there is at some point looks back and says, let me tell you the story about the secrets to my success. Any of you get caught in wanting to buy the next one when it comes out? Someone else has written a book, Tim Ferriss's new book, whoever else, give me a hand raise if you know that one. Whenever there's a new book, Ray Dalio wrote a book called Principles. Let me see who else has written about how to be successful. Here's the piece we miss when we get caught up on that trap of let me learn from others' success. There's nothing wrong with reading those books. It's that we need to read them to find out, well, what's our formula rather than what's their formula. Because we get caught up in looking at, well, where they are now, well, let me do what they're doing now. But they've forgotten what they were doing when they were where you are. And sometimes it's important to do the things that you need to do now. Sometimes it's important to take jumps and do things that you could be doing out there into the future. But we miss, when we're looking for other people's secrets of success, looking at our own. So here's the first part of this. Challenges to your success. When I look at the challenges to my success, here's one of the earliest ones. I was a leader in the world of education. I was a high school teacher, and then eventually a vice principal, a senior teacher. It was when I had the third boss in a row who I realized they are manipulative, they are mean-spirited, they they seek revenge on people for doing things. It didn't seem to be. I see some of you nodding right now. You obviously recognize leadership like this. But it's the third leader in a row. The second leader I had like this, I was like, oh my God, how do I ever get a great leader in my life? Where can I find an organization I can be in with a great leader? The third one, I realized, oh, there's a pattern here. And the only thing in common is me. So somehow I've been creating these leaders in my life. And I realized I was drawn to charismatic leaders. I was drawn to fascinating leaders. I was drawn to leaders who want to make a big impact in the world, but didn't really care about how they did it. And so that's one of the challenges to my success. So focused on great leadership, I wasn't willing to see or able to see the dark side of leadership. And so so anyone's just joined us, we're going through the challenges to your success. Let me go through a whole bunch of others. When I lost my job as a teacher in 2005, just losing my job was a challenge to my success. It was a really screeching halt and a real shock to lose my job. And it was devastating. I was so caught up in the job title I used to have. 6 months after I was fired, I was still introducing myself to people with the job title I used to have because I was so attached to that role, that title. Anyone know something like that? Yeah, Darlene, Joan, yep, Jason. It was another moment of challenge to my success. It must have been 2006, 2007. I felt really needy. I knew I wanted coaching clients. I had a couple, one who was paying me $10 a month, and I was excited by that. And no one had ever paid me money before for coaching. And I said to Monique, you know what I need? I need security. I need confidence. If I go and take out a business loan, a bank loan, then we'll have money coming in and I'll feel confident and I won't be needy as a coach and I can go out there and create clients. I really got that would give me confidence. And Monique said something that changed my life. She said, well, why don't you go and create the money first? And I don't know why, it's just words, right? But somehow that really struck me, that I was hoping that the cash in the bank would save me. And if only I had that, then I'd feel secure. Instead of, you know what if I didn't need to be secure? What if I could be messy anyway? That was one of the challenging moments to my success. And it really shifted things for me. If you've read my book, The Prosperous Coach, in 2007, I was reading a blog by this guy called Steve Chandler, a fascinating guy. He wrote an article that said, make bold proposals. And he had this school where he was teaching people how to build their coaching practice. So I thought, I'll write a bold proposal. Steve, let me come on your coaching program and I'll pay you double at the end. I can't afford to pay you now. I thought, this has got to work, right? He said, make bold requests. I did. I made one of him. And he really upset me because he said, no. He said these words. He said, I want the rich who can make the money first. And first of all, I was really pissed off with him. And it took me 9 months, but eventually I came back to him. I got the money and I went to work with Steve, and I worked with did his coaching school 4 times. We ended up working together. We wrote a book together. Steve just wrote to me the other day and we just caught up. He's 75 this year and has just retired from coaching. But we've had this great relationship for many, many years, and him turning me down was one of the best things that ever happened to me. One of the first times I turned someone down as a client, I wrote to them and said, I don't think we're a fit. I think there's a better coach for you out there. She wrote back with a scathing email, really personal attack on me. It was really hurtful. I was like, oh my God, did I screw up? Did I make a mistake? What did I do? I felt really bad for 2-3 days until it hit me. You're judged on the challenging moments in time. Those challenging moments show your character. And I realized she had just validated my decision. If this is what happened when I'd simply said, I'm not the right coach for you, good thing I didn't say I am the right coach, because who knows what would have happened if I'd ended up coaching her. Steve had said no to me. And eventually I became his client. And a number of people, some people on the call right now, I've said no to over the years and have come back again and again. I see you, David, and have come back again and again, and eventually have become clients because they've showed up in a way that has me go, oh, hey, I didn't know that about you. Challenges to my success. Oh, in 2008, I became the CEO of an international coaching organization. I don't talk about this very much, but I'd met this friend of mine was part of this organization, and this big organization on about 3 different continents, a well-known coaching organization wanted to launch a personal coaching wing. They were mainly a business coaching company in the United States. And I was invited to be the CEO of the personal coaching wing in the United States. Very excited. I was going to be called a CEO. Never been a CEO before. You know, that's that deep fear in me that I'm not enough. If I have a title again, I'll be a CEO. Now there's something significant about me. I'm the CEO of this company. And just a few weeks later, I'm going to England. I'm going to meet some of the leaders of the whole organization, international organization. And my coach is going to be in England at the time. I said, will you come and do something with us? Like do a little session with us? He said, yeah, I'd be happy to. He did a session with us for an hour or so. And later that day, I met up with him. I said, hey, what do you think? What do you think of the company? What do you think of the organization? And he said these words that challenged my definition of success and really impacted me. He said, Rich, I get why they need you. I don't get why you need them. I get why they need you. I don't get why you need them. And it just went straight into my heart. And I knew the truth of it. I knew the truth of it. And I resigned the next day. And I thought I was crazy. Everyone's heard of this company. No one's ever heard of this guy called Rich Litvin. I thought I was crazy, but I knew the truth of what I needed to do. And as I look back all these years later, now apparently I'm known in the world of coaching. This company doesn't exist anymore. But at the time, it was a scary moment. That happened years earlier. I left university, didn't know what I wanted to do, knew I loved people. I was a personnel officer, human resources at Great Ormond Street Hospital. I did it for a year. I thought working in a hospital, I'll be making a difference. Human resources, I'll be working with people. But I hated it. It bored the crap out of me. I only found out years later when I talked to someone in HR who said that the British Health Service, HR, is so bureaucratic. You're just shuffling papers. I went one day to a recruitment fair to recruit people to work at our hospital. I was so bored. I slipped out of the stall I was supposed to be manning and went to a talk about teaching. And before the talk was over, I knew I was in. I signed up, quit my job the next day, and I went to Oxford University for 2 years and trained to be a teacher. But again, I knew in that moment I had to quit. Challenges to your success. I get why they need you. I don't get why you need them. my dad passed away in 2015, and my energy was just gone. I had no energy to create clients. I had energy to serve my current clients. There's something called helpers high. You go out, put energy out there, it comes back to you. But I had no energy to be out there in the world creating clients. And for about 9 months, our bank account just went down and down and down. And that was a really tough moment. That was a challenging moment to my success. It was particularly hard because it was hard on my wife. I knew it somehow inside of me. I knew when I'm ready, I'll come back, and I did. But it's hard when you're married to somebody. If you're the person who makes more of the income, and they see the money going down, they can go into fear more easily than you can, because you know what's under your control. 2017, 2018, I'd become very successful, make a lot of money, but without realizing it, spending a lot of money. And there came a moment, if you're making a lot, it's a trap a lot of entrepreneurs fall into. The book Profit First really captures this neatly. You're making a lot of money, so you start spending more and more and more. And all it takes is a couple of slow months and you're in the red. Despite making more money than you've ever had, you're suddenly realizing, oh my God, where's the money? And if that carries on for a while, we ended up in credit card debt for a while. And that was a really challenging moment to my success. I had to that book Profit First really changed everything for me. And I had to review how I was doing everything in business. I got caught in this trap of scaling. Everything, once you become a business owner and you get a little bit of success, everything you read talks about success and scaling up. That's how you become more successful. And what I've realized is it's not the path I'm supposed to be on. I want to scale back. I want to make a difference in the world, but I don't want a team of 10 people. I don't want to have coaches working for me. That made me an administrator, and it bored the hell out of me. I'd have a day every single week of 8 hours of calls where I'm doing management stuff, and it bored me. No wonder my business was slowing down. I've let go of all of that. I have this really tiny team now. In fact, I came to a new idea of a mission statement recently, where my mission statement is so simple for the business. We don't have a business plan. We have a team, and we can do anything. And within 2 weeks of having an idea or meeting somebody interesting, we can make something amazing happen. That's the only business plan I have right now. So these are the challenges to success. These are the challenges to success. Now, let's have a look at the secrets to success. You know what? Let me ask you guys, if you wrote a question already, will you save it somewhere? Because it's going to get lost in a moment. Cut and paste it so you don't lose your question. I'll ask the questions again in a moment. But what I'd like to do now is have people, will you share one challenging moment to your success? Where did things come to a screeching halt? Where did things shift dramatically? Where was there a challenge to your success? Will you share that in the chat? Yeah, David, nice distinction. It's the money you keep, not the money that you make, that counts. I learned that one painful way. Yeah, Claire's just separated from her husband, says, I currently don't have the energy to create new clients and business. Yeah, I know that feeling from, yeah, thanks for sharing that, Claire. There are so many coaches out there. How do I differentiate myself? I love that one. I'll come to those questions later. I'm sorry for your loss, Jason. Jason lost his brother to an opioid overdose. Stephanie said, I told my husband I'd be earning enough money by the time we moved to France, and I only had one client. Narosha had a back injury for 5 years. Arvind, I'm sorry for your loss, Arvind, losing your dad as well. Lack of self-confidence after a business failure. Yeah. All right, that's beautiful. Lots of ideas there. Let's look at secrets to your success. So what I'm not going to do is what most people do when I could turn this into a book if I wanted to, as I think about it. But That's not, I like to think differently about this. This is not secrets to my success so you can emulate mine. This is to help you draw out the secrets to your success. Okay, that's the purpose of this. Secrets to my success. Say yes before I'm ready. When I'm 70% ready, say go. Don't wait till it's perfect. Perfection will kill things. 70% ready. Sometimes even 50% ready. Some of you have seen, if you saw the newsletter last night or this morning, I think it came out, I wrote a story about my wife's father and the town where he grew up, Wilmington in North Carolina, and a terrible massacre in North Carolina that most people don't know about because the history books were changed, literally changed by the people in charge at the time. And at the end of that, I put something out to the world. My wife and myself at this moment want to make a difference to what's happening with regard to injustice and racial disparity and injustice. And so together, for the first time ever, Monique and I are partnering together. And we've created something called the Kaleo Project. Kaleo is my son's name, but it means the voice. And we want to do something for people who are Black or African American and our coaches and leaders who want to make a difference in the world. So we've launched the Kaleo Project. I was scared as I was creating that. I didn't know what would happen. I was scared when it came out. Would anyone apply? Would this mean anything to anybody? But I was 70% ready and I put it out there in the world. We've already had a whole bunch of people applying. Some of you I can see here already. But I just want you to know, because you don't see that. What you'll see is the page on the website that looks great because my team took my writing, but I've been working on that for 3 weeks. And it's been really edgy, by the way, because as a white man, I don't always know what to say, how to say it. And sometimes I'll say something and my wife will challenge me. We asked her sister to look through this and she challenged me, and it can be jarring for me. I don't know how to say the right thing. I want to defend myself and give my credentials. And I have to sit in a place of learning. 70% ready, and then I go. That's one of my, Dawn, apply anyway. I saw your message. One of my secrets to success, doesn't have to be yours, but say yes before you're ready. Number 2, fascinating people. I've realized that fascinating people is the best description for my business, because I can break it down to 3 things that I do. Fascinating people. I try to fascinate you in the things I write about and talk about. That's my intention. If I can fascinate somebody, they'll want to come back for more. But it's fun for me to write and share about things that fascinate me. So read, learn, study things that fascinate me, and then share those things that fascinate me with the intention of fascinating other people, fascinating people. Number 2, meet fascinating people. For years, my business plan was one line, and I just said, meet fun and interesting people. Join communities of fascinating people, and then create communities of fascinating people. That's been my path. That's one of the secrets to my success. Fascinating people. Doesn't have to be yours. I'm sharing mine right now. Number 3, set the bar high, which means I always want to learn from the best. Best coaches, best leaders. Just before lockdown, I went and studied negotiation with Chris Voss, who's a former FBI hostage negotiator. I wrote a great book called Never Split the Difference. I'm always learning. Learn from the best. So set the bar high. Number 1, learn from the best. Number 2, I coach kings. Some of you know that little line I use for myself. It's not on my website, but it speaks to, I'm looking for the brilliance in you, whoever you are. And then I'm drawing it out. I can see it in anyone I speak to. One of the gifts of feeling powerless for so much of my life is that whoever you are, I see how powerful you are. So when I say I coach kings, I also create them. I'm looking for, some people get upset with me. I have to be okay with that. It's like, oh, you're only looking for people up here. No, every one of you is extraordinary. If you're in Serve, Lead, Serve, I forget who it was now, shared with me, Rich, you're looking for extraordinary people. I'm just a mother. And she shared this story, and I reframed her story about being a powerful mother and a powerful leader because of the choices she made to homeschool her kids, and I reframed that for her. It was very powerful for her, and I saw it impacted other people. Set the bar high. Still, I choose to coach top performers. I choose to have fees that draw out a high level of commitment. By the way, I have always created scholarships. I've never done it openly before. The Kaleo project is completely scholarship based. Normally, it's very private and confidential, the scholarships we've created with people. But I've created scholarships for all sorts of people who are high performers, just didn't have the money to work with me. Well, I can do that because I have high fees for some clients. Every once in a while, I'll find a way to have people work with me where I can cover the cost of their coaching. And then set the bar high, the last part, keep raising the bar. Keep raising the bar. Here's another one. I wouldn't use these words, but these are Steve Chandler's words. He calls it the blue collar work of coaching. Do the work. Do the work. I've written every single day for 10 years. Not every single thing has been published, but I never stopped writing. I coach my ass off. When I realized about 3 years ago that my business model something was wrong with it, I had coaches working for me, people enrolling for me, and I was bored, stuck in the role of a manager. I said to my team, we're changing this. I let go of 8 different people in my team. And I said, fill my calendar with conversations with interesting people. It's the Prosperous Coach approach. I said, I need to get back to it. They said, how do we do that? I said, I don't know. Let's find out. Fill my calendar with conversations with interesting people. And I got back to the Prosperous Coach approach. If you remember from that book, there are only 2 colors on my calendar, blue and red. Blue means I'm serving someone who's already paid me money. They're a current client. Red is where I'm working someone who's not a current client. This appointment with you guys right now is red on my calendar. There's a handful of you here who are current or past clients, but I'm here serving you as much as I would do to anyone who already paid me money. Do the work, serve your ass off, write every day, whatever it is, do the work. What else should I put into there? I'll put one more in. Make shit up. Make shit up. I mean, really just make stuff up. That's what I've been doing for years. The problem is we compare ourselves with someone else who's got a great glossy website, seems to have programs, and we think, wow, they've got all this, and who am I? I am making stuff up all the time, just so you know. Constantly making stuff up. And some of it works, some of it doesn't. In 2006, I had this idea for the Creative Women's Salon. A lot of powerful women were working with me at the time. Made this thing up, Creative Women's Salon. Nobody signed up, not a soul. A year later, I'd reviewed it, changed it. I called it the Confident Women's Salon this time, put it out there into the world. I got 5 people on a 10-person program. And I was disappointed, but then I said, oh, well, I can get them twice the amount of time as if I had 10 people. Let me go and serve my butt off for these people. And then at the end of it, I said, tell somebody else. The next one, we had 10 people. And I did, I don't know how many, 20 of these different salons over the years, because it moved from the Confident Woman's Salon. I did leadership salons. I ran the Prosperous Coach Salon for many years. The word salon became a thing in the coaching industry because my team came to me one day and said, there's too many coaches using the word salon, Rich. We should change the name of this program. I said, you know what's funny? I'm British. I'm a European. I know Britain's left Europe these days, but I'm a European. And I use the word salon because I know its history and its context. In 17th and 18th century Europe, usually very wealthy women who weren't able to work would bring along fascinating people to their living rooms. Politicians, poets, philosophers, scientists, and have fascinating conversations. The word salon means living room in French. Most coaches who took that name salon from me had no idea. They never heard of a salon when they go to have their haircut. It became a thing because I made it a thing because it was important to me. But track it back. I was making something up and it didn't always work. Make stuff up and keep making it up. If nobody signs up, change the game. Do it differently. Change the name. Have less people. Have more people. Play around with it. Make stuff up. I'll pause there. Secrets to my success. What are the secrets of your success? Look back over your life, your career, before coaching, during coaching. What's one thing that when you look back, oh yeah, every time I do this, things seem to take off? Will you share that with me? Thanks, Sean. Got your message. I like that, Emily, but making up words. Ernest, taking a leap even though I was afraid. Yeah, I see you do that. Reno, try shit. Yeah. Val, always taking inspired action. Adelena, tenacity. Jamie, always being willing to question everything and to pivot. Tamara, finding my people, actually asking them for support. I like it. Duncan, saying yes and listening to my intuition. Gabby, fearlessness. Amy, willing to try. Jason, following my intuition. Danielle, asking for help. Alex, watching what everyone else is doing and doing the complete opposite. Yep, that's part of my business plan too, my friend. Okay, beautiful. All right. Let's pause and let's take a moment to check in. It's so easy to always be out there future focused. And sometimes it's important to turn around. Where have there been challenges to your success and what can you learn from them? And what are the secrets to your success, not somebody else's? By all means, buy the next book about how to be successful. I get that. I get caught in that trap sometimes. But read it with a purpose to turn the lens inward. What have been the secrets to my success in the past? Because you can replicate them. You don't have to look for the next one that's out there you haven't yet done. What are the ones that have already worked for you? All right, let's pause there. I'll put a line underneath sharing about successes. Let me take your questions. What have you got? What questions? Any topic, any level of intensity, write the word question in caps and then write whatever your question is. And while you're writing that, I'll share a little piece. I put this in the Facebook group. I've been super creative the last 120 days in all sorts of ways. You know what? But what I'm most proud of is that I've learned that, you know, for years, the theme tune at my events was Sammy Davis Jr. singing, "I Gotta Be Me." The thing about being a coach, someone asked that question earlier, how do you stand out in this noisy world of coaching? By being yourself, by not trying to be like somebody else, by being you. And whether you've been homeschooling your kids for years, or whether, if it's time to share it, I'll share a story about someone who wrote to me who was a captain on a nuclear submarine. I'll share that story in a bit. But being you, bringing yourself to the mix. The thing about be you is that what you can miss is that then you can be caught in this trap of, oh no, that's not me. Oh no, I don't do that kind of thing. And it's the paradox of be you is that you can get caught in staying in this little bubble and not going outside the edge of your comfort zone. So push yourself in all sorts of ways. So what I'm proudest of over these last 120 days is that they're little things, but for me, they're really significant. I don't do DIY, as we call it in England, do it yourself. It's not me. My dad was amazing at it. I've always wondered when that gene is going to kick in and I'll be putting up shelves myself. I don't do that stuff. I pay people to do that because I just can't do it. We had someone to do some work at our house a few months ago. We use an app called TaskRabbit, and they'll come along, and I don't know what we paid him, $70 an hour or something. And he was doing this stuff, putting up lights and things. And he was here for 4 hours. And about 2 hours, Monique came in really mad. "Why is he still here? He's so slow," she said. And I said, "I don't care. I'm not doing it." And what I'm proudest of over the last 120 days is I put a 100-meter cable, wired it from the router all the way to this office so I didn't have to use Wi-Fi for this computer. It's just a cable with these little clips to put it in, but I don't do that kind of stuff, except now I do. I built the trampoline in my backyard myself. I'm so proud of that. It's a 15-foot trampoline. I'm really proud of that. I've fixed all sorts of things. I fixed the, these are tiny things I realize, it's kind of embarrassing sharing it. The handrail, the towel rail came off the other day and I fixed it. And normally we'd call someone and say, "Hey, can you help us fix it?" It's the little things sometimes. And it's making me realize, oh, these definitions of what I have of who I am can stretch. Look, I'm not giving up the day job, but I'm realizing I can stretch my vision of who I am. All right, let me come to your questions. Let me scroll up, see how far I go. Lots of questions. I may not be able to come to, probably won't be able to come to all of them today. Let's see what we've got. Val, how do you recognize your gifts and superpower without needing the feedback from clients and peers? Oh, well, why are you worried about needing it? I would ask for it. It's very hard. 3 mysteries to the universe, Val. Birds to the air, fish to water, and humans to themselves. It's really hard to see our own gifts. So ask your clients, your friends, your colleagues from a previous job. I would seek that out. They'll tell you. Ask them, what's missing when I leave a room? What's my superpower? What can you count on me for? Those are great questions to ask people, and they like to answer those questions. Jamie, what are the tips to move through imposter syndrome without letting the critical voice of self-doubt sabotage you? Oh, I think I saw that question in Facebook. I'm glad you asked that, because I was going to say I don't believe in imposter syndrome. I do. I have it all the time. What I don't believe in is that it's a problem. It means that you keep playing a bigger and bigger game. What I believe the problem is when you stop having imposter syndrome and you get comfortable and you're relaxed. I think it's a good thing to have imposter syndrome. It tells you, it's a clue you're playing a big game. So that's how I reframe. I don't worry about it. Critical voice of self-doubt, that's just the voice in your head. If you listen carefully, it's often the voice of your parents. And it's a voice that's there by design. It's supposed to keep you safe. Thank you. Thank you, voice in my head. I know you're trying to keep me safe. And you know what? Right now, I need to be doing this. But thank you. Stay there. I'll keep listening to you, but I won't always act on what you say to me. Let's see other questions. Seymour went from engineering to dancing and now coaching. I have a foot in dancing, struggling to make it with dancing engineering. Struggling to integrate and choose one niche. There's a lot of questions in there, Seymour. But what I love the most is you're an engineer and a dancer and a coach. That makes you different. Engineering is very heady. Dancing is fully in your body. You span the whole spectrum of being in the head to being in your body. Talk about that. Talk about that to your clients and just watch what happens. I'm less worried about a niche than a need. What's the need that the people have that you resonate with the most? And here's the key. Your dream client is the person who looks back at you in the mirror every night before you go to bed. So what do you need most right now? I started coaching. My first ever website was called thatconfidenceguy.com. It's a little embarrassing nowadays, but that's what it was called. It still exists. It would just redirect to my current website. I just didn't want to let it go. It's kind of fun. It's a bit of my history. But I started coaching around confidence. People said to me, marketers said, you can't coach around confidence, Rich. That's an abstraction. Nobody's looking for that. I wasn't trying to get clients. I was just fascinated to learn about confidence myself. So don't worry about it. You just start the journey and don't worry about that. Reno, question is what to do next? I don't know, man. Just what do you want? Give me more context than that. Do the thing that scares you. Do the thing that scares you a little bit and excites you a little bit. That's always the answer to that question for me. I'm doing what scares me a little bit and excites me a little bit. Magda, how can I go international with my coaching beyond Romania? Well, I've seen the question, you sent that to me, I think privately, Magda. I don't know. I've never had that question of how can I go international? But if I reflect on that, let go of the thought of going international and start to share what's important to you. Somehow you need to share your stuff online. It doesn't matter whether it's on your Facebook page to start, whether eventually it's on your own website or a blog, whether it's a podcast. Start to share what is important to you. And over time, if it strikes a chord, people will share it with other people. And we're just an international global world these days. Don't worry about trying to go international. You can't help it. We're connected with people all over the world in this moment. So worry less about how to go international and put your attention more on what do you want to talk about and what are you afraid to talk about, and start to share it. Whether it's in written form or oral because it's on a podcast or on videos, start to share what's important to you and what scares you. Emily says, why am I not living in my strength or in my power? I don't know. I often have that feeling, Emily. I'd worry less about that than what do I want to do and what's one tiny step I can take in that direction. What's one tiny step? What's one small act of courage you can take today? Take that and then check in again tomorrow. What's one small act of courage I can take today? John Sebastian, how much is too much rest? I think that's the problem for us as high performers, JS. We're so worried that if we turn off, I'm speaking about myself right now, we're so worried if we turn off that everything will collapse. It's really scary. I've put 120 days into this community, writing to you guys many, many days a week, sharing lots of stuff. And I need to take the month of July off. I've got a few client calls, but other than that, And I'm scared. What will happen? What will it mean? Will this group disappear? What will that do? I don't think as high performers we can ever have too much time off. But what we're worried about is we think we'll turn into that person lying on the couch with an enormous bag of Cheetos in a bowl on our tummy, watching Netflix all day, every day for the rest of our life. And it just won't happen. But we're scared of it. Thanks, JS. Sasha says, how do I create a new client this week? I would block out 1 hour, Sasha, and read the Prosperous Coach. That's all I do. Everything you need to do to create clients is in there. But if you're trying to create a client this week, there's a time pressure on there that probably means it won't happen. The moment you take the time pressure off, you go out there and serve, everything can shift. Darlene says, what do you teach your team to help them identify the fascinating people you wanted to meet? Oh, I didn't. I just said, let's get calls on my calendar. We just opened up for calls. And at that moment in time, 2 or 3 years ago, I just started talking to people and seeing what happened. But remember where I was then, Darlene, is I'd built a community for many, many years. So there were more fascinating people in my world at that point anyway. Nice to see you here, Marcy. Marcy and I have known each other for, I don't know how many years, 12, 13 years. Amy, what belief has helped you take some of your biggest risks, especially money related? There's a previous call I did, Amy, on a community call around what I call my manifesto that you should have a read of. One of the money related learnings I had is money is the most perfect expression of my creativity. Because I used to think if my bank account was low, it meant something about me. And if it was high, then I'd relax and stop working. And that realization, money is the most perfect expression of my creativity, reframes things. It means if I want to create money, I just need to be creative. My bank account is high, it tells me I've been really creative. And if it's low, it tells me I haven't been creative enough. My bank account is a barometer for my creativity, not for my emotions. That was a game changer for me. Rod, I get this question a lot when I go on interviews or podcasts. Go back in time. What do you wish you could tell yourself at the start of your coaching career? I don't know if it's a cop-out or not, but my answer to this one is always the same, Rod. Nothing. I needed to make the mistakes I've made to be here. Who knows if I hadn't made the mistakes that I made, that I'd be here right now. I needed to make all those screw-ups. This is the challenges to your success. You know, I learned more about leadership from those 3 bosses who I would never, ever want you to work for than anything else I ever learned about, any book I ever read about leadership. I learned about leadership knowing what not to do. So whilst I wouldn't wish poor leaders on anyone, I learned a lot about leadership from that. So I wouldn't tell myself anything different. Ernest, what's been my approach to having more interesting people in my life? Setting that as an intention. That's my intention, to meet fun and interesting people. I'm filtering for that all the time. Himanka, how do I create a filter for energy? Make a list, 2 columns, what energizes me, what drains me. What energizes me and what drains me. People, places, projects, habits, and thoughts. People, places, habits, thoughts. I missed one out there. Projects. And make a list of all the things that energize you and all the things that drain you. And gradually, one thing at a time, take off the things that drain you of energy, and you have more energy. Sean, what have I learned and gained from my actions during this lockdown? I'm writing an article. It'll come out on Saturday about 10 lessons I've learned from these last 120 days. I'll share that with you guys. I think it's Milka. How do you handle telling clients what they need to hear versus what they want to hear? Help them realize that you mean well. Tell them at the start of the conversation, hey, what you need to realize is I'm not one of those nurturing coaches who's going to make you feel good all the time. One of the things beliefs I have about coaching is my job is to challenge you. Your friends are there to love you, to tell you that whatever you do is perfect. But if that worked, you wouldn't be here in this conversation with me. Are you up for a high flame conversation? And if you're not, that's okay. But this is how I work. Something like that. How do you practice keeping quiet and deep listening? Make it your habit. Make it your habit. Listen more than you talk. Really make that a habit. Say nothing. Watch the videos I've made. Listen to my podcast. Watch me practice it. Irina, how do you move forward from fear of being judged online? If you're not being judged online, then you're not sharing something important enough, Irina. It scared me the other day, but one of my mentors said to me, if you're not being criticized every day, Rich, then you're not sharing something important enough. And that really scared me because I'm not being criticized every day. It's every so often. Yeah. Sylvia, what's the key to daring to be you? Do some work on finding out what makes you you, and start sharing that in the world. There's no simple answer to that question. I think, Sylvia, it looks like you're asking that question on behalf of somebody else who's powerful but scared to embrace herself. So if what I'd say to you is be that person for her. Whether or not she ever sees you doing that, be the person who dares to be you yourself. We've got to walk our talk as coaches. Even if that person never knows you're doing that, there's an energetic impact of that. Warala says, you share so much of your stories like I know you. How do I share facets of myself genuinely? A story I choke on all the time is being a single mom of 3 girls the last 4 years. I mean, it blows my mind that you're a single mom of 3 girls. I'm a dad with 2 kids and a partner where we share so much of the stuff. In fact, Monique does some of the stuff a lot more than me in some ways. And when it comes to parenting, and it's still overwhelming to me. So just share that. Please share your story. People need to know that. It's amazing. Thanks, Gabby. Thanks, Cordelia. Now, I've got 64 messages here, so I'm not going to get through all of your questions. So I'm going to do a quick scan and see where I can go to. Puneet, what are your criteria, Rich, for making a betting the farm decision? I don't bet the farm. I think risk takers mitigate risk. Great entrepreneurs mitigate risk. They find ways to go all in, but they don't bet the farm. And you know what? Every once in a while, I get it. Someone might want to bet the farm. If that's your path right now, man, I'm there for you. I support you. But I would also look at how do you mitigate risk? It's a paradox there. I haven't got anything more than that. It's a paradox, man. Good to see you here, Puneet. Nice story from David. David had imposter syndrome about being a marathon runner. I'm not a marathon runner, he used to thought. He felt like an imposter, and yet he completed 3 marathons. Perfect story to illustrate that. I'm going to try and pull up my story about the nuclear submarine guy, because he emailed me yesterday. Let me see if I can find that. I meet people all the time who look at themselves as less than, who can't see their own brilliance. Let me put this into the search box. Great. So I asked a question the other day. I wrote an article that went out to the newsletter. The most powerful coaching question I know, I said, is what do you want to create? And I said, email me back. Tell me your answer. I read every reply. A couple of people wrote back and said, I know you don't read this stuff, Rich, but I'll do it anyway. And someone wrote back, I know this is a marketing trick, but I'll write back anyway. It's a genuine question. It was fun. I was a bit nervous because I wasn't sure how many we get back. We got a lot of people wrote back. This guy wrote back, thank you for your question, Rich. Maybe stop to verify what I want, and do I really want it? At the moment, I want to create a coaching practice that challenges leaders to be better. He wrote some really generic stuff about leadership. On the personal side, the coaching will provide me joy. No, I'm providing to a group of individuals desiring to be better. It was interesting, but there was something that was missing there for me. And where did he say it? Oh, you know what? It's interesting. I just realized. So I wrote back to him and I said, that's a powerful mission. Tell me about your time in the Navy. What were you known for? What could people count on you for? What was your proudest accomplishment? You see, when he wrote back to me, I realized now I took his URL and put it into the, I checked out his website. And on there, it was a very generic website about leadership. But it said somewhere he'd been in the Navy. So I just said, tell me about your time in the Navy. He wrote back, Rich, I hope you enjoyed Father's Day. In the Navy, I started out as an enlisted mechanic and nuclear propulsion plant operator on submarines. Very early in my submarine tour, barely 4 years into the Navy, I was thrust into a leadership position due to circumstances. I became very senior in my rank. It was a really powerful story. So I wrote back to him and I reframed it. I mean, he wrote the story, but I just shifted some of the words powerfully. I'm going to tell you his story. So all I've done is shifted his words ever so slightly. And here's what I wrote. Steve, this is an incredible story. No wonder you want to create a coaching practice that challenges leaders to be better. And no wonder you believe that leaders' biggest challenge is to continuously focus on the development of themselves and their people. I'm a coach. I should never tell someone what to do, but I'm also a rule breaker. Please tell this story on the front page of your website, Steve. I've adapted it slightly so it reads well for someone who's a potential client of yours. See below. Most people know that I started my career in the Navy as an enlisted mechanic. I was a nuclear propulsion plant operator on submarines. Very early in my first submarine tour, barely 4 years into the Navy, I was thrust into a leadership position. I had no clue what I was doing, but I did my best. On my second submarine tour, I was again placed in a leadership position over peers who were senior to me in time or at the same rank. I stood out in the eyes of my leaders who placed me into the leadership position. What I don't want you to know about me is I was ambitious. Mentors helped me grow and learn, but I wanted rank and leadership mostly for financial reward. I got promoted and worked my way to the top rank for enlisted leaders. And eventually I recognized it was all about managing people, not all about managing people and systems, but rather about vision and empathy and listening and mentoring and challenging people's thinking, including my own. After 22 years, I left the nuclear propulsion program and submarines to become a command level senior enlisted leader, working side by side with the organization commander. I loved this, and I was the senior enlisted leader for 4 different organizations. I didn't do this for the position of being the command master chief, but for the ability to build teams to succeed in ways they did not believe they could. I did my utmost to lead by example. I was known for being level-headed, fair, compassionate. I was the person you came to when you needed help. I was wise and analytical. I had attention to detail. I was confident on the outside, but always questioning on the inside. I didn't walk into an organization and say, I'm here because everything's messed up and I'm the guy to fix it. I looked for what's right and how we could build on that while fixing what is wrong. Excuse me. I'm cutting out some of this because it's long, but I'll come to this. In the Navy, leaders often say we spend 90% of our time on just 10% of our people. What I also don't want you to know about me is that I was bottom 10%, actually a bottom 5% type when I went through all the nuclear propulsion training in my first years in the Navy. And I know that even though someone may appear to be in the bottom 10%, it doesn't always mean it's because of their lack of effort. Sometimes they just need a little boost and support. In one of my commands, we had a troublesome person that would be considered the bottom 10%. Many of the leaders and managers under me were frustrated with him. He eventually reached a point of potential disciplinary action, but I found a way to support them so they grew and changed, but never received discipline. Within a year, they were recognized as the best in their rank within the organization. Years later, the commander still tells this story to his new leaders as a way to teach not only what he learned and continues to practice, but what everyone can learn, that everyone's important when they're part of the team. If you need a leader to challenge your thinking or to walk alongside you in your next mission, you and I should have a conversation. Steve wrote back to me this morning, 2 hours ago. He wrote, "This is absolutely incredible. I cannot thank you enough. This shifts me from some words on a website to a relatable person. I am so amazed. I have to admit, I do not normally share or make things about me, but this is different and worth it." There's 2 parts to this. One, I reframed his story, made it powerful. But how did I do that? Somebody reached out to me on an email, and I took the time to look at their website, to see what they're about. And I noticed he'd been in the Navy. It was one line. I said, "Tell me about your time in the Navy." It could have been anything. It could have been a single mother who said, "I'm a single mother to 3 kids." And I said, "Tell me about being a single mother to 3 kids." And he trusted me enough to share his story with me, a story he rarely shares. And then I did what I did. How do you create clients? You're always creating clients. Not that he's a client. He might never be a client. But I show up in every interaction from, how can I serve you? I want to leave that as a context for all of us today. You are so much more powerful than you know. And Creating clients is about serving people all the time, as powerfully as if they were already paying you thousands and thousands of dollars. Thank you, guys. I'll be in the Facebook group for the next couple of days. And at the end of the week, I'm going to pause, take a break from that Facebook group, regroup for myself. I hope you guys get to take some time for yourselves. I'd love to see if you've got any thoughts or insights from anything now. We've got about a minute left. Share of your insights in the comments below, because I can download it afterwards and read what impacted you. And then let's do this. In a moment, I'm going to hit unmute. Or no, I'm going to ask you to unmute. I'm going to send each other some love. It's nice to feel that energy when everyone sends some energy out into the world. When we unmute, let's all at the same time share something that we're going to do to take care of ourselves in the next few days and weeks ahead. And let's do it at the same time. Don't hold back. All right, everyone unmute. Share something that you're going to do to take care of yourself. I know I'm going to take time to be out in nature.
Remember to slow down.
Slow down.
During nature.
Time to relax.
Louder.
Enjoy life. Enjoy life.
Have a magical summer.
Are you done, Richard?
Enjoy my
down.
Okay, I applaud you guys. Bring that into the world. Take time to rest this summer. I love you, gang. I'll see you back in the Facebook group over the next couple of days. Bye, everyone, for now. Bye, gang.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Rich.
Love you, Rich.
Thank you, Rich. Love you, Rich.
Take good care of yourself.
Thanks, Rich. Enjoy your time off.
Enjoy your summer.
Here.
Thanks, gang.
Thank you
Have a
so
great
much, Rich.
vacation. We're gonna miss you.